Thank you for your time and welcome to today's session. A lot of people from around the world reach out to me on a daily basis. Some of them have, been diagnosed with cancer. Some of them are diagnosed with deadly diseases, and some of them have simple lifestyle diseases like diabetes, cardiovascular problems. Some of them are recovering from strokes, and many of them live in fear about what needs to be done next. Or sometimes they're just normal people who are seeing family members suffering from cancer, suffering from heart disease, and they start to live in fear. Like, where do we start? Because it is confusing. I completely resonate with that fear, because today when you go onto social media or you look, technically in an ideal world, there should be one curriculum of nutrition, medicine, psychology that just basically speaks the same language, which is based on science, based on research, based on experience, and not on false science, paid science. As a lot of you know today, science can also be bought. Like if I have a lot of money, I can go to a team of scientists and researchers and say, hey, listen, I want you to write a research paper on this, but this is the outcome that I want. So what will happen is the science will move in a way to give you that outcome, but it will not give you the entire whole truth, which is why today we have misconceptions, for example, about cholesterol. For the longest time, people thought cholesterol was bad. People jumped onto statins, but today we realize that the same community came back and said the research was wrong. It's not correct. Then you had the whole research about red meat being bad for the health and red meat causing cancer. But today we know that science has proved that to be absolutely wrong. Of course, if your meat is, you're basically the animal you're eating is fed and pumped with steroids and antibiotics, you're going to have problems for sure. The same thing with a plant-based diet. If the plants you're eating are sprayed with pesticides and all of that, you're going to have a problem. So the point is, ground zero. What do you do? Where do you start the journey? Because a lot of people jump into extremes because the extremes sound really good. Like, oh, if I go completely ketogenic, or if I go completely vegan, or I go and I just do a juice-based diet, or I go on a raw-based diet, things sound better because maybe a couple of people, it worked for them. But for majority of the people, it doesn't work. And then we find we wasted a lot of time in our health journey trying these extremes, jumping from one plan to another. Okay, and we never take off from ground zero. We never really start our body's ability to start healing, to start recovery. So that's exactly what the intention of today's video is going to be. We're going to talk about how to start from ground zero. Like I said, right now, you could be diagnosed with cancer. You could be 6 months in your cancer treatment. Maybe you're going through a relapse. Maybe you just found out you have diabetes. Or maybe you're just fed up of people being sick all around you and your family, and you want to start to make that change for yourself. So we call it ground zero. Everything starts off with your mindset. Your mind is limitless when it comes to power. We put limits on it with false information, incorrect information, taking information out of desperation, even though it doesn't make sense to us. Our mind, we keep putting limits. We put emotional limits on our mind. We believe, example, cancer is a death sentence. And that is so wrong, because as we speak, there are millions of people who have kicked the most deadliest cancer and are in remission today. Then we have these false conceptions that type 2 diabetes cannot be reversed and you need to be on medicine for a lifetime, basically driven by half of the medical community. And the point is, patients start to believe that I need to take this medicine for a lifetime. So why change my lifestyle? I need to take medicine for a lifetime. Likewise with thyroid, likewise with stents in the heart or statins. The point is, the human body has the ability to heal. No doctor ever heals a patient. No nutritionist heals a patient. No trainer ever heals a patient. No spiritual guru or leader ever heals a patient. It is your own body that heals you. Right now, over and above science, over and above neuroscience, over and above spirituality, you have to understand one fundamental. There is an intelligence that exists within you. When that intelligence is compromised, you have disease, you have disharmony, you have all the negative emotions. When this intelligence is harnessed, the body has the ability to prevent, heal, repair, perform miracles. All of that is the intelligence of your body. That intelligence is working for you right now, like your autonomic nervous system. You don't have to remind yourself to blink. You don't have to remind your heart to beat. You don't have to remind your heart to beat faster when organs in your body require more oxygen. You don't have to remind your body to do that. It does it. You don't have to remind your body to balance hormones while you sleep, detoxify automatically while you sleep. You don't have to remind your body to kick in adrenaline when you're in the fight and flight response. All of this magic happens automatically. That is the intelligence of the human body. Now, when we build on this intelligence, it works for us. When we create an environment within us and outside of us, it works for us. But when we compromise the intelligence, when we block it, when we create an environment that doesn't allow the intelligence to work, we have problems. It's very simple. When you have a newborn child, you want to create that perfect environment in the bedroom, the temperature, all of that stuff. Why? The environment is important for the baby's comfort, for the baby's growth, the baby's development. Environment is everything. But we start to compromise the internal environment in our body with excessive stress, poor nutrition, too much of exercise, a lack of exercise, sleep deprivation, oversleeping. And then what happens? The intelligence gets pushed, suppressed. And then we rely on chemicals and drugs, and we try to go deeper into spirituality to heal us. But hey, you're alive. That itself is a spiritual miracle. The fact that you're alive. Now, you don't need more spirituality. It's already in you. The spirit is already in you. It's just been suppressed and dampened with years of poor lifestyle or the bombardment of constant medication without lifestyle change. Am I against chemotherapy? Absolutely not. As I speak to you, I have thousands of patients around the world who are going through chemotherapy, radiation, surgery, on steroids for whatever conditions they have. But they are also changing their lifestyle. They are also managing the side effects of every drug or treatment that their body goes through. And that is what the power of lifestyle is. While medicine, in its honest attempt, is trying to kill a cancer, shut down your immune system to protect you from autoimmune conditions or inflammation, you have to make sure that the human body is getting what it needs for survival. So when any patient comes to us from around the world, it doesn't matter what disease, how complex the disease, what stage it's at. There is only one thing going on in my mind and in my team members' mind. How do we harness the intelligence of this body to kick in? Let the drugs do its work, let nutrition do its work, but how do we harness the intelligence? Because like I said, that is the only thing that works. When the human body's intelligence kicks in, like the immune system, what saved people from COVID? There was no vaccination. Okay, steroids didn't work. What saved them? Their own immune system. The patients who died of COVID was because the immune system could not be reinstated. The patients who got the worst COVID and survived, it's because their immune system worked for them, started to work for them. That's the difference between life and death in those particular patients. So ground zero, your mind is everything. So now, of course, we understand. I wake up to calls of people, sometimes close friends who have been diagnosed with cancer. What do we do? Where do we start? Number one, whether it's cancer or whether it's any disease that's mentally or emotionally affected you, you need to understand the stages of emotion that everyone goes through. This could be with a disease, it could be with a breakup, it could be with a divorce, anything that disturbs the harmony within our mind and in our body. Number one, these are the stages that we go through. Denial, number one. And it's okay. The sooner you accept each of these stages, the faster you reach to the last stage. And the last stage is the beginning of healing and recovery. So first, denial. How me? Why me? How could this happen? It's okay. It's fine. It's the human mind in shock. Accept it. Talk about it. Vent out. Cry. Feel all the emotions that come with it. First is denial. Then is anger. I've done so much for my health. I did this. We'll start to blame the food, the pollution, everything around us. We'll start to blame stress, stressful people in our lives that created the problem maybe or contributed towards your stress. You go through anger, and I want you to go through anger because it's part of the healing process. Don't try to suppress it. Don't try to think positive. Don't try to be strong. No. No, the human body is allowed to be strong. It is allowed to be weak. But we decide how long we want to stay weak. So we go through anger. Then comes the bargaining. The bargaining, like, okay, if I do this, will I get better? Okay, I'll give this up. Maybe I'll get better. I'll stop eating sugar. I'll do a sacrifice at the temple. I'll give this up. I will pray. The bargaining starts. It's absolutely fine. Okay, it's part of the survival mechanism. You go through bargaining, go through it. Then comes deep sadness or sometimes even depression, a feeling of loss of control. Maybe you're in the prime of your life. Maybe you have children. Maybe you have a great job. Maybe you're building an empire, a company. You're playing such a role in society where you're needed, you're required. And now comes depression because you feel the loss of control. Loss of control comes from uncertainty. You don't know what's going to happen. You don't know how your disease may unfold. You don't know. Now there's fear also with depression. Oh no, are the doctors going to cheat me? Am I going to be over medicated? Okay, is my finances, all of these things can lead to depression. Go through it. Ask questions, support groups, family, people. The more you talk, the more information you get to the right people, because you don't want sympathy. You want empathy and you want right information. And finally, the last stage is acceptance, where you accept, okay, this is it. I have diabetes. I have Hashimoto's. I have breast cancer. I have brain cancer. Acceptance. When the human mind accepts, physiologically, biologically, chemically, at every level, including spiritually, you allow now the possibility of recovery and healing to start. But many people stay stuck in denial. They stay stuck in anger. Some people, in my experience, accept it. They don't even go through denial and all the other stages. They're like, let's come. What's next? Let's move. These people have an unbelievable recovery rate. So some people start straight with acceptance. I'm not saying you need to be that person. If you are, great. Maybe you'll have to go through all the stages. Maybe you go from denial to acceptance without going through anger. Maybe you go through denial and anger and then to acceptance. It doesn't matter. Everyone's different. Everyone's different. Accept it. But the sooner you reach acceptance, now a world of possibilities open up within you and outside of you. In acceptance, resistance is dropped. You're no longer fighting the emotions which are out of your control. Okay, that brings us to the next point. How fast can we reach acceptance? It's come. There's nothing you can do about it. Go through venting, anger, crying. Go through those emotions. Don't try to suppress it. It will come up at some point. But the sooner you reach acceptance, the better it is. How do I reach acceptance faster? Communication with your doctors, with your team, with your family, talking about it, venting out, feeling sad, not trying to be strong, crying, asking, getting your fears answered. You reach acceptance way, way faster. Resistance, the longer you're stuck in resistance, it's a waste of energy. Energy that heals you. What heals us? There's energy in every allopathic drug that you take, chemical energy. There is energy in every hug that you get. There is energy in every genuine relationship you are in. There is energy in the water that you drink, the vegetables you eat, the food that you eat. It doesn't matter whether it's non-veg, veg, you follow your religious beliefs, but there is energy even in dead meat, period. Okay? Just energy is energy. Now, this energy can go towards healing, recovery, repair, growth, functioning of the immune system, which has been disabled, or this energy can go into anger, resistance, fighting, denial, projecting all of your fears on other people, bitterness, resentment. The choice is yours. It's very, very difficult to change, but it's not impossible. So part of ground zero is working with your mind, your emotional health, get a therapist, get a counselor, self-work, work with family members, but it is part of moving from ground zero. Okay? Energy comes in from oxygen. Energy comes in from everything around you. So now you're either feeding on the right energy or you're feeding on the wrong energy. So for example, white sugar, okay, makes you happy. It's zero energy for the human body. It's basically fuel for every disease out there. Am I saying you should go off zero sugar completely? No, but maybe you can start planting the seed that when you're sick, You need to start reducing inflammation in the body. So definitely processed food, sugars, all of that is what you want to slowly reduce. Some people just stop it. They stop sugar completely. They stop, the bad foods and processed foods. They don't need to be motivated or inspired into doing it because their health is more important than a few good feelings. But everyone is different. We don't have to feel bad if we're struggling with cravings, but we need to work towards it. All right. Which brings you to the next word, perception. Today, your stress right now can change in a second by changing how you perceive people, things, events, love, disease, cancer. Everything is a perception. I can put 10 people in the room and 10 people will understand cancer differently. Their perceptions are based on the information they read, what they heard, what they read on social media. Everyone's perceptions get formed from the time we're children, with fears, with the information we consume. So now you may be stressed about something right now. By only changing the way you think about it, you can literally dissolve that stress. But if we're not able to change our perception or our mindsets or our belief systems, like people, oh, I got cancer, how much time do I have? Okay, these minds are already programmed to start dying. No, okay, I got cancer. What's the best way to live a long quality life? Just do a change in the way we worded it. A change in perception can become the saving grace for any patient with cancer, diabetes, or any single condition. Oh, my friend went through a bypass at 70, you at 70, it's old age, we will go through stents in our heart. Well, you've already told your mind exactly what it's going to be. What about all the people in 70s who don't even have heart problems and have never had a stent? So is your perception flawed? Is your perception wrong? Or does your perception need a change? So perception is very important at ground zero. How do I perceive nutrition? How do I perceive exercise? How do I perceive sleep? How do I perceive emotional wellness? When you start changing your perception, like nutrition, okay, when people say, Luke, motivate my kids to eat better, they can't be motivated to eat better. You need to involve them into the understanding of food. Food is energy. So if I eat the wrong food, I have the wrong energy. That's why I'm tired. If I eat the right food, I have the right energy. That's why I'm energetic. So just by changing our perception of nutrition, we no longer have to tell patients and kids, don't drink Coca-Cola, don't eat sugar, don't eat this. Through understanding, we make them understand that, think before you put that in your mouth. Is this going to serve me? Is it going to serve my disease? Is it going to serve my immune system? Yes, go ahead and eat it. No, be mindful. Be mindful. I had a patient yesterday on a 14th cycle of chemo, and she said, Luke, please, can I talk to you? It's just 2 minutes. And she was like begging to have a piece of chocolate cake. I said, go ahead and have 2 pieces of chocolate cake. Just get back on track the next day. 2 pieces of chocolate cake is not going to cause her cancer to come back. It's not going to spoil her body or her immune system. The human body can handle 2 pieces of chocolate cake very, very easily. But the point is, if she starts to do it every day, and now her consumption of cancer cells move to glucose because it's easily available, now we're creating a feeding mechanism for the cancer. So you see, it's not that sugar is going to cause your cancer. Sugar never causes cancer. Sugar never causes diabetes. Sugar creates metabolic breakdowns in the immune system at a cellular level, inflammation, and that causes cancer, diabetes, and disease. So by simply changing your perception, now you look differently at sugar. So maybe the next time you have sugar, you won't do it with guilt, which is worse. When you eat with guilt, when you do things in life with guilt, it's worse for you at every level in the human body. When you enjoy a piece of cake, big deal, I'm enjoying it today. That's it, I'm back on track tomorrow. That cake is not going to upset any part of your health. So perception is a very strong word. You'll have a lot of people with disease. They suddenly start overtraining, thinking that exercise will undo everything, but they get sicker and sicker. Perception. More exercise doesn't mean more results. More organic food doesn't mean more results. In fact, less is more. The human body has requirements which are simple, but it needs consistency. So you may be eating a simple diet. Be consistent with a simple diet. It will work for you. So we spoke about perception. Now, ground zero, environment. Okay? Any disease growing in you right now is because you have created the perfect environment for it to thrive. Your body has created the environment for insulin resistance. Your body has created the environment for cancer cells to thrive. Your body has created the environment for blockages in the artery. Your brain has created the environment for Alzheimer's, Parkinson's, and dementia. Okay? I'm not saying that to blame you. I'm just saying that so you understand your responsibility now is to change that environment within your body. So we have the internal environment, and then we have the external environment. My environment around me, how does it influence me? So if I'm constantly with people who are smoking, I've become a passive smoker. I may not smoke, but the internal environment is influenced by my external environment, and it is impacting me. My external environment, if I hang around with people who only eat junk food, who only sleep late at night, who are only on drugs and alcohol to find happiness in life, it affects my internal environment as well, because my internal environment is influenced by my external environment. So if we're living in a place that has pollution, absolutely yes, no matter how fit we are, how healthy we are, how sick we are, the polluted air that we are breathing is influencing our internal environment. So now we have to make efforts to do breath work, pranayama, build stronger lung health, because it's uncontrollable. We can't do anything. If you can shift your country or your place from polluted to non-polluted, great. Everyone can't do that. So then we have to move to plan B. How do I build a stronger lung? How do I build stronger lungs? How do I build a stronger immune system, a smarter immune system? How do I keep my liver clean so my liver can constantly remove all the toxins that I inhale and eat? So ground zero is about going to this level environment. We talk about that more in detail. The next difficult question, but it's a mandatory question that we need to ask ourselves is, are you willing to stop doing the things that made you sick in the first place? If you have cancer, you're willing to stop smoking. If you've been eating junk food and you have gut issues today, are you willing to stop eating junk food? If you were sedentary, are you willing to start being active? If you've been chronically stressed, are you willing to make the changes, to let go or accept things that you need to change, people that you need to change, so that your stress levels start to get better? Because the bitter, ugly truth is, if you're not willing to change what has made you sick, nothing can work. Absolutely nothing. So it comes back to mindset and perception. You've got to be willing to do that. And it doesn't have to be difficult. You can take your time, slowly, step by step by step by step. You need to understand, you need to be giving up the things in life that bring you misery. Like you want to be happy all the time, but you hang around with friends that make you sad. Can you ever be happy? Unless you stop hanging around with those friends. So you've got to be willing to give up something for the larger good. That word is beautifully misunderstood. And I'll explain the meaning of it today. Sacrifice. Nothing in the world works without sacrifice. Today, you have the woke community on social media and society telling you that, oh, you can have everything. Everyone's a winner. They keep telling you all, you don't need sacrifice. You don't need to work hard. You need to work smart. None of that is true. Sacrifice at any given point, the most successful, healthiest people, happiest people, fulfilled people are sacrificing. You always sacrifice something of lesser value for something of greater value. So you may sacrifice the French fries because you care about your heart. Now, for someone whose greater value is taste over health, they will sacrifice their heart for the French fries. We're not here to judge. We're here to understand the meaning of sacrifice. So what are the things that you need to sacrifice in your life for value? That value could be health, abundance, love, relationships, because you cannot have it all. You cannot have it all. It's impossible. The student who stood first in class, okay, someone had to lose. The student who stood second. The person who came first in the running race, someone lost. So there is a winner and there is a loser. And then when you go out into the real world where winning and losing is real, people start to emotionally crumble. Because but I thought we were all winners. But I thought life wasn't hard. But I thought we should work smart and not hard. No, you can work smart, but you also got to work hard. Not because Luke's saying that, that's how life is. Every religion and spirituality talks about work being worship. And then you have people who come up with their quick rich schemes and say, oh, you don't have to work or lose weight. You don't have to step in a gym. No diets. You can lose weight, lose 10 kilos without even walking. All of those, as you can now see, okay, are marketing gimmicks. You got to put in the work if you want to lose weight. You got to put in the work if you want to put your cancer in remission. You got to put in the work if you want your relationship to work. There is no other way. Where's the smartness then? We are the most advanced in the world at this point when it comes to medical treatments and surgeries and medicine, but the world is basically reeling under cancer deaths, diabetes deaths, and cardiovascular deaths. So where's the smartness without the hard work, right? So ground zero involves all of these things. At ground zero, you want to identify the root cause of your disease. Because without knowing the root cause of your disease, you will go through life dependent on symptomatic treatments. You know, we have women who have cancer and they say, Luke, I know what got my cancer. And I'm like, what? When my emotional health started failing, when I started having bitterness, unforgiveness, when I got cheated on, when my in-laws did this and that, when what that deeply, I knew my health started changing. And they're absolutely right, because emotional suppression can cause cancer. Emotional suppression can cause cardiovascular disease, period. But the point is now this woman or this man knows the root cause, which is important because they can work towards it. So I've had women with cancer who have walked out of their joint families because the cause was the mother-in-law. And now they've been slapped with cancer. They have 2 children and they don't give a damn about their mother-in-law or their joint family or their husband. They walk out, you're coming with me, come. You're not coming with me, don't come. But they've realized the need to change their environment. They've realized the need to change their environment if they want to heal, period. So sometimes you will be making these decisions at ground zero. Very, very difficult decisions, but necessary decisions. Root cause. If you know the root cause was sleep deprivation, well, guess what? You can have all the money in the world. You can fly yourself down to New York and get treatments at the best hospitals. But if you're not correcting sleep deprivation, you have a big problem. You will still be sick. Maybe the chemotherapy will give you a clean scan, but you will have a relapse in the cancer because you've not taken care of the root cause. So taking care of the root cause at ground zero level, very important to find out what your root cause is. And most doctors, and I'm not against doctors, I have doctors in my team when I speak to you right now, will say that, and it's not their fault, they're not being non-ethical. Oh, we don't know why these things happen because it's not in their medical curriculum. But today, everyone knows why disease happens. Everyone knows why even the rarest of the rarest disease can happen because of a simple mutation of the gene. So once you find out the root cause, ground zero now becomes a more fertile ground for you to start making your action plans, because then you can start adding to your lifestyle, subtracting things from your lifestyle that don't serve your disease or the suffering that you're going through. The next important point to understand at ground zero is bio-individuality. Understand that you are a unique individual. No 2 twins in the world have the same thumbprints. That's why biometrics work. The very fact that you are so different from your mother, your sibling, your sister, your friend, what does this mean? If you take your health, your body, and your mind, and you put it into a box that society has drawn for you, all breast cancer patients have to be treated this way. All people with COPD have to be put into this box. Now, for the medical fraternity, that's great because medicine works according to the category of disease that you have. But your lifestyle can be completely different. Some bodies are carb efficient. Some bodies are protein efficient. Some are fat efficient. Where do you fall? You can't go on an extreme. Ketogenic diet can be scientifically proven to help cancer, but we know a lot of patients who have gone to keto clinics and keto doctors have said, I'm sorry, this diet doesn't suit you. Go back to a balanced diet. The point is, don't put yourself into a box. You need to find out what works for you. So if keto works for you, great, go ahead and do it. You're feeling good, your parameters are changing, everything's good. Okay, but maybe you need a simple diet. Some people do well on carnivore. Some people do well on vegan. Some people do on vegetarian. Till date, every patient that sits in front of me, I can still not tell them whether they should become vegetarian, vegan, or non-vegetarian, because there is absolutely no data showing that any of these diets are better than one another for cancer. We have carnivores, hardcore meat eaters who get into remission. We have vegans who get into remission. We have vegetarians, we have pescatarians. We have different people who get into remission. The point is their overall lifestyle. not just putting yourself in an extreme bucket of nutrition. You have trillions of cells. These cells have been compromised. What does my body type need? Do I need more fiber? Do I need more protein? Do I need more? It's also dependent on the treatment you're going through, because chemotherapy or certain medications wipe out a lot of vitamins and minerals. Are you getting that back into your body through your diet, through your supplementation? So nutrition becomes precision nutrition, according to who you are. Some of our patients do so well on vegan. Some of them do horribly on vegan. They have deficiencies. Some people move back to being non-vegetarians and all of a sudden they start to put on muscle and weight and their parameters change. It doesn't matter. What matters is what your body type needs. Because ask yourself a simple question. If these extremes worked, that would be a solution to disease, right? Everyone would become carnivore or everyone would become vegan and cancer would become lesser and lesser. But that's not the truth. With more extreme diets, in fact, we have a higher rise because a lot of these extreme diets deprive the human body of many, many things that are required multifactorially for that intelligence I told you about. Simplicity is what the body requires. It doesn't need extremes at all. Yes, sometimes part of your diet, raw will play a huge role. Sometimes cooked will play a huge role. It really depends on the person and what works for that person. So ground zero is about you identifying as a bio-individual, unique person, and then starting to build your plan based on what your body and disease needs, not what the world is telling you. Today, the longest living people that I know and that I've had as clients and also who are now friends today, 95, 96, 98, 100, 101, and 102. Okay? None of these people have ever gone through extreme diets. None of these people indulge in extreme exercise. None of these people indulge in extreme emotional healing or extreme spirituality. There is one commonality that threads between all the longest living people in the world. It is simplicity and happiness. So ground zero involves you to start focusing on these things as well. I have people who can't even afford almonds who are in remission with their cancers today. They just went back and ate the food that they were given gratefully. Their attitude healed them. They got the same treatment as any other kid in Tata Memorial Hospital or as an adult. So I would be lying if I told you, oh, you need organic food. If you can, of course, it's better because we want to reduce the toxic burden of pesticides. But how do poor people with the simplest foods, carb-heavy diets, very little protein also go into remission from cancer? That's something for you to think about so that you don't live in fear with the over-information that's available out there. There are people we have in remission who have gotten into remission or reversed their diseases with the simplest diets. And we have people, because they're very rich, they have their own farms, they can buy their own cows, they can fly down fish from Japan, they also go into remission. The point is the environment that you create within you. Okay, so bio-individuality, very important. Then hope. What a powerful drug. When you get hit with a disease, cancer, anything, doesn't matter. Start looking around, start reading stories of people who have survived, people who are in remission, because that gives your mind, which is already threatened with fear and insecurity, hope. Hope is a powerful drug. Without hope, you can't live. You can live, but you live dead. Okay? Hope is such a powerful drug. You don't want false hope. You don't want people selling you snakes and oil and, ointments and pieces of wood that will take your cancer away. No. You want hope from people. Like, wow, 4th stage cancer, given 2 weeks left to live, is now living 15 years old. 15 years more. What do you get? Hope. Someone reversed type 2 diabetes in 6 months of getting it. A1C came down from 12 to 5.5. You get hope. Hope is such a powerful drug for the subconscious mind. Use it at ground zero. Okay? Now, let's break up the pillars of ground zero. Nutrition. Okay? I'm not going to tell you what nutrition, but I am telling you when you're at ground zero and you want to restart, the fuel that you feed your cells is a differentiator. Your cells need 3 things: oxygen, nutrients from the food that you eat, and blood circulation to circulate all of this. If the energy is wrong, the healing is wrong. If the energy is right, the healing is right. If trillions of cells get what they need, Like your cells need selenium, they need chromium, they need boron, they need vitamin C, they need vitamin E, they need D, they need all of these little things in small quantities. You give the cells what they need, they look after you. That's the intelligence I'm talking about. No scientist yet knows how an immune cell kicks in. We know theoretically and anatomically what it does. But where does the intelligence come from? No one knows. And we don't need to know. Just give your body that perfect environment. So number one, nutrition. Quality, quantity, right time. Feasting, fasting. When I say feasting, it's simple. I'm not going to preach to you to give up sugar and junk. It's common sense. If your child is sick, will you feed them junk food and sugar? No. So don't feed a sick body junk. Don't feed a sick body sugar. As simple as that. That's the first rule. Then fasting. Very, very important. Don't put yourself into a box of 16, 18, all of that rubbish. Why? Why not 15? Why not 14? Why not 21? But we want to put ourselves in a box because we feel successful. Oh, I'm intermittent fasting, 16-8. Why 16-8? Oh, look, everyone's doing it. Yeah, but a lot of those people still doing it are still sick, unhappy, and all of those problems. Maybe 12 hours work for you, but at the right time. Maybe once in a week, 24 hours work for you. You're different. But build in fasting. As little as 12 hours, which brings me to the next point, environment that we spoke about, circadian rhythm. How do I build a circadian rhythm? Okay, I always give this example. You can be the best baker, the best master chef in the world, known for baking that perfect loaf of bread. You make the perfect dough. It's all perfect. You put it in the oven. The oven temperature is off by even quarter a degree, and the bread will not rise. Perfect dough made by the perfect master chef, but the environment was wrong. This is the importance of the environment. So if you want to start off at ground zero, align yourself with the cycles of nature. That is called the circadian rhythm. How do we align to the circadian rhythm? It's very simple. Our dinners get earlier, closer towards sunset if we can. We sleep at least 2 hours before midnight. We put off our phones and gadgets that block the production of melatonin at least an hour before bedtime. So we use melatonin not just to fall asleep, which is healing and magic, but melatonin is also called an anti-cancer vaccine. Its job is to identify proliferating cancer cells while you sleep. So it puts you to sleep and it has a job to do. This is the beauty of the human body. But we've suppressed our melatonin now because we want to look at our iPads and phones before bed when we're sick. So we don't enable the intelligence I spoke about. We don't create the environment for the intelligence to be harnessed. Then we wake up before sunrise. We don't look at our phones for at least an hour. We connect with natural light. Just look out of your window. Reset your circadian rhythm and your melatonin levels for the next 12 hours by doing that. This is the circadian rhythm. We try to keep our meal timings fixed because that's a rhythm. Your digestive system works on a rhythm. You try to do your breath work, rhythm. You try to exercise so you keep a heart rhythm going. All of this is the circadian rhythm. You create a beautiful environment within you for that intelligence to work. So the circadian rhythm is also very important. What time you eat is so important. Today you eat a late night meal and you jump into bed. You have insulin all over in your blood. When you have insulin, you have high inflammation. You don't have to be diabetic, but your immune system is compromised for the next 3 to 4 hours. With your insulin, you've gone to bed late. Insulin will want to make you pee in the night. So now you wake up and you disturb your sleep, which is again a healing medicine because you need to pee because you had a late night meal. You wake up with more acid in your body. The entire environment that's supposed to be healing for you while you sleep is disturbed because of that late night meal that you had. It's not natural. The whole point is, I know life is difficult. We have travel, we have jobs, we have night shifts, all of that stuff. But again, we should get inspired with nature. Nocturnal animals will wake up, will feed, will be awake at night. You'll never see them wake up during the day. Human beings are the only species who disrespect sleep. Okay? So I'm saying when you're sick, you got to try to improve in these areas. That's called ground zero. You can't just say, oh, I have a job. Today, you should know that Scandinavian countries like Finland, they're the first countries to talk about breast cancer associated with night shifts. I don't say this to instill fear in you, but the truth is the truth. So any employee in Finland who worked the night shift and has breast cancer today can take a claim back from the government. because it affected them. You need to understand that these things are real. And there are people who do night shifts, but they maintain such a great lifestyle during the day, they flip it over and they have no cancers at all. So it is possible. It's not that everyone doing a night shift will get sick, but especially if you're doing a night shift, all the more reason for you to maintain a great lifestyle, to make sure that you get sleep during the day, to make sure you're not compromising on anything. So you just basically flip it over. Your day becomes night, night becomes day, and everything changes across the clock. And you can live an absolutely healthy life doing that. But when you're doing a night shift and you're disrespecting your overall lifestyle, the burden on the body compromises your entire intelligence and it cannot work for you. It starts to work against you. So nutrition, ground zero, where do you start? It's up to you. But you know now that you need to start with nutrition. How do I get more colors in my diet? How do I get more fresh produce? Can I get organic if I'm doing raw? How can I get nuts and seeds? How can I get the right amount of protein from the right sources? All of that is your ground zero. I can't be more specific because disease is such that it's different for everyone else. Exercise. Too much or too little. How do you start at ground zero? Something as simple as 15 minutes of stretching to maybe a 30-minute walk. And then as you get stronger, you start challenging muscle, a resistance band, body weight exercises. But you start doing exercises that are holistic. What is holistic? When you do an exercise, it should be training you for stamina, endurance, mobility, flexibility, heart and lung capacity, which is your breath work. So just running doesn't cut it. Just lifting weights doesn't cut it. So now all these exercises, so maybe you do a little yoga, you do a little bit of pranayama, a little walking, get stronger, you can run. Maybe you lift weights, maybe you lift your own body weight, maybe you do dance. It's up to you. As long as you are consistent and you listen to your body. And there are some patients, they can't exercise. They're too tired. The chemotherapy is too heavy. But as they get their strength back, they start to move. So rather than exercise, I want to use the word movement at ground zero. I'm at ground zero right now. How can I slowly start to add a little bit of movement in my life? That's starting at ground zero. Maybe you walk for 5 minutes, but the human mind will say, what's the point of 5 minutes? Forget it, just sit. That 5 minutes is huge for you because if I can do 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes in mid-morning, 5 minutes in the afternoon, 5 minutes in the evening, I got 20 minutes. So it's the small wins. Don't make big goals. Start off with even 5 minutes of exercise and then move to 10. And then your body will say, hey, this is easy, move to 15. Small wins is magic when it comes to ground zero and rebuilding your health. Start with small wins because it's easier to stay consistent. Okay, the next thing, if you're down emotionally because of your condition, all of that stuff, if you can get off social media, get off social media for a while. Because even the most enlightened mind, social media will win through comparison, algorithms, all of that, seeing other people's life. You don't need that. Is it serving you? Go ahead. If it's not serving you, disconnect from the digital world. Go onto sites if you seek information, knowledge, follow specific people if you need to, but you need to relax emotionally. You don't want to feel inadequate because your subconscious mind is comparing you and your life with someone else out there. You have a sick body, you're frail, you're thin, and all of a sudden you're seeing half the airbrushed and Photoshop bodies on Instagram making you feel miserable. So it's like I said, you have to sacrifice certain things. Get off social media. Start building more meaningful connections with family, friends, watch some good movies on TV which are not controlled by algorithms. Get off social media. Fasting, we spoke about, therapeutic. Then as you start with 12 hours, maybe you go to 13, maybe you go to 14. See how you feel. If it's not serving you, do not do it. But fasting is therapeutic because it is in fasting that the body has the ability to completely heal. Fasting with medication, fasting with food. All of these things are extremely important for you to understand. Spirituality. A lot of people, when they get sick, they remember God. I'm not here to talk about God. I'm here to talk about whatever your spiritual path is. Embrace it. It is so important for you to understand your spirituality. Where have you lost connection? Where have you become a slave and victim to society, people's comments, FOMOs, trying to fit in, where you've lost connection with your own spirit? The further you move away from your spirit, the more disharmony you have in every cell of your body, impacting your internal environment, impacting the intelligence that can work for you. And that's why you feel out of control when you're distanced from the spirit. You feel out of control, you feel angry, you feel negative when you're harboring resentment, bitterness, unforgiveness within you. What are you doing? You're destroying the internal environment in your body. What I'm saying is not easy to do, but it's not impossible. And if you want to start from ground zero, you need to do it no matter what. You start building your emotional health. You don't need to do 50 days of Vipassana. No, you don't need to do that. You need to get one day right at a time. What do I need to accept? What do I need to let go of? Who do I need to forgive? It's time to start looking at my past as a lesson, not as a punishment. Why can't I release this guilt? Guilt is not serving me. Shame is not serving me. Negativity is not serving me. So you need to do that work. And believe me, you need to do that work, because then there's a whole load of other doctors over there waiting to put you on psychotropic drugs and antidepressants and all of that. I'm not against it, but it is not a replacement for the solution of the problem, which is self-work. An antidepressant cannot take away negativity from your body. It cannot take away resentment from your body. It can make you feel better because it numbs the sensation. But once the drug wears out, you're stuck with the same old emotions. So go back to my point on root cause. Know your root cause. Otherwise, you will become a slave and a victim to a drug-infested world. I can guarantee you that. You'll have a ton of people on a laundry list of medicine. Their parameters look good, but they're unhappy, they're suffering, and they're still sick because they never bothered to address the root cause of the problem. When you address the root cause of the problem, you start making the changes, your own doctors will get you off medication at some point. It happens all the time. It can happen for you. Talking about spirituality, prayer, the power of group prayer, the power of personal prayer. It is so powerful. Forget what social media talks about death and spirituality and this is right, that is right. As a human being, you already know what is right and what is wrong. You already know the power of kindness. You already know the power of forgiveness. You already know the power of love. You don't need any more depth of spirituality unless you are the person who is embracing it, making changes and moving to the next level. But so many people talk spirituality, read scriptures, and they don't know how to do the basics of forgiveness, letting go, acceptance, surrender. Their spirituality is useless. It feels good to talk about, to read, but without action, it's useless. So spirituality with action starts at ground zero level. You do not have to complicate it. You do not have to allow spirituality to make you feel like you're punished. Most people don't understand the meaning of karma. A lot of cancer patients come to me, Luke, yeah, I deserve this. I did this. They're already not worthy of getting better. Whatever comes my way, if death comes my way, I come. And I'm like literally in my mind, get the fuck out of that attitude. In my mind. The point is, spirituality's messed them up. Karma is not that. Karma is far from that. People don't understand the meaning of karma. Think about it. When you were a kid, you've done naughty things. When you were a teenager, you've done naughty things. You've lied, you've manipulated, you've done all these things. Everyone should be punished all the time if karma works that way. The word missing from the explanation of karma is intention. Now, if I intentionally cause you harm, if I intentionally use evil to manipulate, cheat you, rob you, do all of that stuff, that karma is going to come back and bite you in your ass. But there are genuine mistakes that are made by people, and people change. People change. Intention is everything. And that's why everyone doesn't get punished. Now, using karma, these people who blame karma or say, oh, I'm a victim of karma, I did this, I deserve it. It numbs them and blinds them from actually seeing their lifestyle that has caused the problem. They forget to see the tons of cigarettes they smoked. They forget to see the tons of junk food they ate. They forget to see the amount of nights that they were sleep deprived. They forget to see all of these things because the human mind gets some answer, consolation. Oh, you did this. This is why you got cancer. You know, so it consoles the human mind, but it strips you of all your fighting abilities, all your abilities to embrace. Karma doesn't work that way. Otherwise, every prisoner in jail right now should be dead. They should be with cancer. Every rapist, murderer, whatever, they should be suffering the most deadliest deaths if karma worked that way, correct? So don't become a victim to fad spirituality. The basis of spirituality is the respect for the human body, the gift of life. This is a gift of life. If you disrespect it and you're trying to follow other deeper methods of spirituality, it's a farce. It's hypocritical. Spirituality starts with the respect. You've been given a gift of life. How are you looking after it? How are you nurturing it? You're abusing it all the time, and then you expect spirituality to work for you. You're abusing it, and you expect the Vedas or the Bible or the Quran, some passage to sort out all your life problems. It doesn't work that way. You have to start respecting the human body. You need to reflect. You need to make the changes. When you make those changes and you start to respect the human body, that is the first step of spirituality. Now you can move to complication in spirituality and everything else. But you can't be sitting there and preaching and not caring about the physical self, talking big things, but the physical self is abused. The first step of spirituality is respect for the gift of life. So yeah, at ground zero, you will probably reintroduce prayer in your life or spirituality. It is part of your overall healing, because meditation can't take away your problems, but meditation with clarity and action can. A lot of people meditate. I meditate 3 hours. I wake up at 3 in the morning. And then at 6 in the morning, they're caught into their whirlwind of negotiations and this and that and anger and all of that. I said, where's the essence of your meditation? Why aren't you practicing it? So they think because they meditate 3 hours, all their problems get solved. But meditation is about using that space to learn more about you, to find the strength, the courage to forgive, to let go, to accept. All of this is what meditation does. Otherwise, you just meditate, you have an hour of peace, you open up your eyes and you're back into reality. It's very important to understand this at ground zero. So, intentions. This is ground zero. 4 fundamentals: nutrition, where you start; exercise, you understand now; sleep, emotional wellness, and connection with the spirit. How do I reconnect with my spirit? Because when you're reconnected with your spirit, this entire spiritual being is limitless when it comes to the capacity to heal, recover. And don't get me wrong, if you are destined to die or I am destined to die in the next hour, it doesn't matter. We are going to die. But we don't know that, so we don't focus on that. We focus on all the little things that we can do. Minus complication, start with simplicity. Start with simplicity. Some of my most diabetic patients are diabetes-free today, only because they went from eating junk to eating clean food. That's the only change they made. They started to walk. That's it. That's how simple it is. My most complicated cancer patients who are in remission today, when you look at their food plans and their lifestyle plans, they are the simplest plans ever. All we did was move them from what they were doing wrong to what they should be doing right, which is not what Luke thinks is important, but it's what the body wants. It's what your body wants. If your body thrives on love, you should be putting yourself into situations where you get more love. Some people can do with less love. Some people are workaholics. They get happiness through their work. That works for them. There's nothing wrong with that. The point is everyone is different. So ground zero is your chance to start rebuilding, no matter what age you're at, no matter where you live, how much money you have or don't have. It doesn't matter. What matters are the little things that you do in the space of nutrition, movement, sleep, emotional wellness, and your fulfillment, connection with the spirit. And if you have the courage and the strength to do these little things, that is the first step towards your recovery and healing plan. And everything I've shared with you today, is what we do with every single patient for the last 9 years. And we like to believe we're successful because that's what the reports show and that's what the remissions show. And that our entire fundamental is based on that. So you can start today, whether you have high blood pressure, you have diabetes, first start with the mindset change and then move straight into action. Keep it simple, and I can guarantee you will move from ground zero to success. For some of you, it may come fast. For some of you, it may be slow. For some of you in between, it may not work anymore because it's your time to go. We don't know that. But what we know is what we can do. And these little things that I spoke about don't have to be expensive. Healthcare becomes very, very expensive when it reaches that stage. But everything I spoke to you today doesn't cost you a ton of money. It costs you a little bit of time a little bit of discipline, and a little bit of consistency. Thank you for your time, everyone. This will be packaged and mailed to everyone who registered for this particular session. So you can feel free to watch it again. You can feel free to share it with people who may need this. But thank you so much for your time. Have a great day.